the command module.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of IMAGI-NATION TV. My name is Maddi. I'm a Gamilaroi woman living on Wiradjuri land, and before we get started, I'd like to pay my respects to elders past, present and future from all the lands that we're joining on today. And we're super excited because today's episode we're exploring Geoscience with Auscope. Geoscientists contribute to the protection of the Earth by researching it and learning from it and forecasting its future. They examine the environment and research global environmental systems. So we'll hear more from them from the experts on this in a moment. Just a reminder that if anybody has questions at any time, throw them in the comment section and we'll get the experts to answer them. I'm going to introduce you to some of our students today. We'll head over to Adelaide Botanic High School. Kids, if you want to introduce yourself, we'll get started.
Go. Say Ollie, I'm Ollie.
Hi, I'm Ollie.
Ulani. Say hi.
I'm Ulani. I'm Ash.
And I'm Tatum.
And your brownhead. Yeah.
And we have Tatum also.
Awesome. Thanks for jumping on today, kids. I'm super excited to be doing this episode with you. We're going to move over to our geoscientists. So if each of you would like to introduce yourself, where you're joining us from, and something interesting about you.
On Ghana land.
What?
Say where we're from. Adelaide
We are from the Ghana land
and Adelaide
and
Botanic.
Adelaide Botanic High School.
Thanks, kids. Thank you. I'll throw it to Michelle first. Just take yourself off mute.
Hi, my name's Michelle Salmon. I'm from the Australian National University and I work with Auscope. I am a seismologist. I'm coming to you from Ngunnawal country, close to Canberra, not quite in Canberra. And an interesting fact, I get to travel all over the world, but I travel a lot around Australia doing looking at earthquakes.
Nice to meet you, Michelle. I'll throw it to Jo now.
Hello everyone, so good to see you all here today. My name's Jo, I'm calling in from Wiradjuri country. I am a science communicator working for a science organisation called Auscope. We have a toolkit of all of these cool things that scientists can use to answer the big questions of Australian earth science, or geoscience as its other name is. A cool fact about me, this is the first time I've ever done this on camera, but I've actually got a trick that I'd like to share with you all today. You're the first ever to see it outside of my family. This is a banana trick. I've never seen anyone else do it, but give me a moment. Ready? Can you see it? Everyone can see the banana? Yep. All right. This is kind of like karate, right? But with bananas. So I need you to say 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. Oh!
I got there already. It's a clean break. Can you see that? It doesn't have that much to do with earth science, but it's a fact. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I was not expecting that. That was beautifully done. Very impressive. Last but not least, Sima, if you would like to introduce yourself.
Yes. Hi everyone. My name is Sima, calling from Ngunnawal country. I'm so excited to be here and talking to you about earth sciences. I'm a seismologist from Research School of Earth Sciences at the ANU. If you want to know what seismology is the study of earthquakes and the waves that they generate.
Awesome. I'm super excited to have this panel here today and have the kids joining us from Adelaide High School. We're going to dive straight into it. The question's going to be open to each of the panelists to respond to. So
Sorry.
whenever, just jump
Sorry,
in.
Maddi.
You're all good.
Oh, we're from Adelaide Botanic High School.
Adelaide Botanic High School. My
Yeah.
apologies.
That's right.
Thank you for the correction, but we will get started. So just a simple explanation. What is geoscience?
I would answer for that. Earth science or geoscience is the study of Earth. One of the misconceptions about earth science is that most people usually think earth science is all about studying rocks, while earth science is a broad term, referring to all fields of science dealing with our planet. For example, my specialty, I'm a geophysicist. It studies geophysics. In geophysics, we study physical properties of the Earth. And it has more in common with physics, mathematics, and computer programming. Generally, earth science includes and applies knowledge from biology, chemistry, physics, ecology, mathematics, and many other science disciplines to tackle complex interdisciplinary issues.
Awesome. Thank you for that explanation. I'll throw to Michelle for the next question. What is education on? Why is education on geoscience important? Why do we need it?
Well, you can imagine that we all live on our Earth, so Earth science affects our everyday lives. For example, a meteorologist studies the weather and they watch for dangerous storms. Hydrologists examine the water and they warn about floods. A seismologist like myself looks at earthquakes and try to understand where and when they're going to happen. And geologists look at rocks to help locate useful minerals for everyday things that we use. And earth sciences often has field work, so we go out and we get to see beautiful areas of the world, and we record all of our findings and report them back. So it's like bringing all the sciences in together and then going out onto country and using that information.
Yeah, I love that. So then following on from this, idea of going out onto country, Joe, how can geoscience help or impact Indigenous communities on country?
Thanks, Maddi. Yeah, that's a fantastic question. There are many, many ways. The most important thing is that respect sits at the heart of any science endeavour, whether that's education in schools, in universities, research, earth science research, or whether it's industry. Respect is key. With that, we can do all sorts of wonderful things together. So some examples of how our equipment can actually really help Indigenous people is through contributing information about when this continent was first occupied by Indigenous people. So we have some laboratory equipment that can date rocks and minerals in caves and say something about when people were first walking around, when volcanoes were active in this country, and when cave paintings were made in certain places. So that can be helpful to add to the knowledge that's already there in oral traditions and storytelling. Another way is just through the very many career pathways that people can take. So as the first earth scientists of this continent and the surrounding islands and the seas, Indigenous people have an enormous contribution to make to earth science and caring for country and teaching everybody else how to care for country. You're the best people to do it, so we need to see more and more of that.
Yeah, for sure. It's so important to see First Nations people getting involved in, a modern era of their history. So that's super exciting to see a push for for that. I'll open this next question up to anyone who would like to answer it. What are some of the important differences between renewable and non-renewable resources? And why are we leaning towards those renewable resources right now?
I would answer for that. And I think this is a very, very important question and issue. We should address it. So first of all, I should explain what renewable energy is. Renewable energy resources are constantly available and they can replenish themselves and they never run out. The examples of renewable energy are solar, wind, water, which we also call them hydro, and geothermal energy, which is the natural heat coming from the earth, like hot springs, lava flows, and etc. Non-renewable energy resources include minerals, coal, natural gas, oil, and nuclear energy. Once these non-renewable energies are used up, they cannot be replaced. This is a major problem for humanity, as we are so dependent on this type of energy. And unfortunately, this is not the only problem. The other problem is that when we use these energies, like when we burn coal, natural gas, oil, they produce and emit heat-trapping gases, which we also call them greenhouse gases. If these emissions continue, the atmosphere could warm up as much as 2.7 degrees in the next decades. You might say that, oh, 2.7 degrees, it's all right, it's nothing, we can survive. But scientists disagree with that. They say this increase of temperature would be life-threatening and it would bring a lot of disaster. For example, the rise of temperature would cause water shortage, more air pollution, melting ice sheets in Antarctica and Greenland, consequently rising the sea level. We would have longer and more intense heat waves, consequently more bushfires, and also there would be destruction of coral reefs and so many other destructions. So, in my opinion, these warnings from the scientists should be taken very seriously, and we should limit the usage of non-renewable energies and switch to using clean sources of energy. If you have any questions.
Yeah, for sure. It's such a big thing happening at the moment, isn't it, Sima, that we're switching to solar panels on houses and using wind turbines and, you know, leaning towards those renewable resources. What's something that our high school students and people at home watching on YouTube, what that they can do as an individual or in their community to stop these greenhouse gas emissions and really be that eco-friendly?
So first of all, I think when students learn about earth sciences, they would learn and understand their impact on the environment, and they would learn how our planet is vulnerable, and they would understand our responsibility towards protecting our planet. For example, I would say we can reduce using electricity at our houses, or we can use less cars, use more bikes, and so many other options. If anybody has in mind, they can contribute and tell.
I think there's lots of things that people can be doing around the house, even something as simple as getting the composting happening. I mean, we've been doing this for a long time, right? And recycling, lots of things you can do at a household level. Something outside of the household level and down the track a little bit, you can, and even now, you can be speaking, raising your voices in these climate strikes around the country. You know, the more voices added to the conversation, the better, because we really need the Australian government, everybody in this country, to be on the same vision for a sustainable future. And then you can talk to your parents about banking and investment, which sounds pretty boring right now, but actually where you put your money, the things you don't even think about, can actually really affect where banks invest money that your parents have. So there's a couple of ideas.
Yeah, these are really great ideas. I love being given that voice and knowing that our young people can make a difference just where they are in the moment. Something that I came across recently was Great Wrap, which was a cling wrap made by 2 Australian people that is compostable, not just biodegradable, which we know that when someone says something is biodegradable, it breaks down into microplastics, which isn't any better for our environment. But being biodegradable means that it completely breaks down, means there's no plastic left over. And yeah, it's an Australian brand. So I think it's called Great Wrap. It's made from potato waste from chip factories, which was something just really interesting. So if you want to get involved in something that is eco-friendly and better for your environment, have a look at those new designs coming out. Blah, blah, excuse me while I trip over my words. People are coming up with great ways to get rid of those things that are really impacting our environment. I know that the kids have a couple of questions. I think the first one was, would you call nuclear energy renewable? And I'll leave that for the panelists. So kids, when you're ready, you can ask more questions as well.
So I think Joe already answered that one. And I know nuclear energy is not renewable. We have to mine those resources to create that nuclear energy. So it's not considered to be renewable.
Yeah, and I also add that nuclear energy, they use uranium, and uranium is not is a mineral, and they cannot replenish themselves, first of all. And second, they can cause pollution in our environment. When we use them, we have waste of nuclear energy, and it is important for us to know how to deal with this kind of waste. And this made a big decision for geoscientists to make a big decision that no, this is not a renewable energy, and we should exclude this from the environment.
It's an interesting conversation at the moment because of the submarines as well that are going to be nuclear.
Was there any other questions from our high schoolers that you had for the geoscientists and inclusive of Auscope? Any questions? I can see you contemplating at the back there. Nope. Does the panelists have any questions for myself or for the students?
We soon do. Quiz questions.
All right then. Well, if there's no questions from the panelists or from the kids, we'll move into our quiz section then. So you guys are welcome to take that away.
All right, I'll just paint a bit of an introduction for this quiz. So we've got 5 hot questions ready to rock for you. Just pitch in at the end of each section, and then we'll offer an explanation and tell you the true answer for each of those. There are a couple of prizes up for grabs today. I'll hold off on the details about that until later, but basically we'll take questions from in the school group here and also in the chat. If there are any interesting responses to any of the questions, best response in the chat will also get a prize. So to all the people out there, please get involved. And I will leave it to Michelle to take it away.
Okay, so I have the first question. So they are multiple choice to make your life easy. The first question we have is, what are Australia's big earth science challenges? So we have A, reducing the effect of climate change. B, finding the right minerals and energy for a low carbon economy. C, finding water resources. D, reducing the effects of bushfires, coastal erosion, and earthquakes, floods, and severe wind, or E, all of the above.
Yeah. Could we repeat the question, please?
Yeah. What are Australia's big earth science challenges? So, what do you think?
I think we're going with E.
E, great choice. That's a very good choice. So just as an explanation there, global climate change has already been observed. So we can look at that climate change thing. We've already observed it. Earth scientists predicted in the past what would result from what's going on today. And we actually see the changes occurring now. We see a loss of sea ice, we see accelerated sea level rise, and we see longer and more intense heat waves already. One of the things that we can do is help to try and mitigate, also to reduce those effects from the climate change. And earth scientists can do that by providing the minerals that we need for clean green energy, but also by carbon sequestration, which is when they pump carbon down into the ground to stop it going out into the atmosphere. We also have fresh water, which is the most important resource for mankind for living. And geoscientists can actually try and help us find and manage the water resources. So that's an important part of earth sciences. We also have Australia's variable climate is actually influenced by not just the normal weather, but the geography and the environment that Australia has. And it changes the way that we use our infrastructure, it changes how ecosystems work, and it changes the cultural heritage of areas. So learning about how those climates are changing, and things like bushfires and coastal erosion and earthquakes are all part of earth science for us. And I think we'll move on to the next question, which Sima is going to give.
Yes, and the next question is, what is the longest mountain range on Earth? A, the Himalayas in Asia. B, the mid-ocean ridge in the world's oceans. C, Rocky Mountains in North America. D, the Alps in Europe.
Alps. I reckon A or D. I haven't heard of most of them before. E? What was the furthest one? They're saying D up there.
So you are locking D. Locking in, huh?
Can we go B?
Oh, B, the mid-ocean ridge in the world's ocean?
Yes.
So you're locking in?
Yep.
Okay. That's correct. Well done. Well done. So, so you were puzzling a bit in the beginning, but you would be surprised, but you got it right. But everybody would be surprised that the longest unbroken mountain chain in the world is located beneath the ocean water. After years of mapping seafloor, scientists discovered this mountain range, and they called it Mid-Ocean Ridge. Mid-Ocean Ridge extends over 64,000 kilometers from Arctic Ocean down to Atlantic, around Africa, Asia, Australia, and it goes over under Pacific Ocean to the west coast of North America. It's so long. So, and also there is one other fun fact about this mid-ocean ridge. It is amazing to know that the tallest mountain in this chain, called Mauna Kea, is more than 1,000 meters taller than Mount Everest. just most of it is under the water.
We were wondering if this mountain range goes around a tectonic plate.
This is actually it is happening in the spreading lithosphere where the divergent boundaries are occurring.
So the answer to that is yes. It's right at the edge of the tectonic plates in the ocean. So I get the next question. Australia is moving to the north at a speed of, is it 7 millimeters a year, 7 centimeters a year, 7 meters a year, or 700 meters a year? What do you think?
I think we're going 7 centimeters.
Oh, you lot are so onto it. Yes, that's right. So Australia actually sits on the fastest moving continental plate, and the continent is moving to the north by 7 centimeters a year. So if you look at 15 years, someone who's been on the planet for 15 years has moved 1 meter and 5 centimeters to the north over their lifetime. So that's like this far. I don't know if that you can still see my arms. It's quite a long way. And if you think about that, how will that change where if we're using GPSs, we actually had to do a correction a couple of years ago to correct the locations of everything on the planet because of the movements.
There you go. Thanks, Michelle. Okay, on to question 4, getting close to the end now. When was the last earthquake in Australia and where? Okay, I feel like you know the answer of this already. I can see everyone smiling.
Yeah, I think we're going to, today.
Okay, let me tell you the answers. A to B, A to C. Or did you already say it? I didn't hear it.
Yeah. I think we said today in Melbourne.
Yes, you're almost close. So this morning, 9:30 a.m., a 5.8 magnitude earthquake, we think about that much at the moment, we're still figuring it out, the fine details, occurred with the epicenter in a place called Mansfield, which is on Tongarong country, which is to the sort of northeast of Melbourne a little bit by maybe 50 k's or so, I think. So excellent. Congratulations, you got that one.
Yes, we saw the waves roll in, and I'm getting phone calls every 5 minutes at the moment about the earthquake. So I have the last question. So it's a yes or no answer, but I'll just give you a little bit more with the yes or no. Are fossils dead? And the answers that you have to choose from are yes, they are well and truly sleeping through time, or no, some grow slowly on country every day.
We're going with no, they could be alive.
You are quite right. So to explain that one, there are what we call living fossils, and there are examples of what we see as fossils that are living today. And the living fossils are seen in Australia. There's examples such as stromatolites, which have been around on the planet for 3.5 billion years. And they are the oldest living life forms on Earth and could be found alive and fossilized, so both alive and dead, in South Australia, actually, at Port Lincoln, and in WA at Shark Bay, where there's another example of a living fossil, which is the Wallamai pine as well. I'll hand over to Joe on the results for the quiz.
Well, that's it. You've done very well. Good responses for every one of those questions, I would say. and amazing interaction. So thank you so much. We have got some prizes, and we have enough prizes for everybody here today, actually. So they are a little Lego kit of one of our tools, which is a radio telescope. Yep, I can see you're nerding out there. I can see that. Yeah, so basically these radio telescopes are equipment that are used by astronomers and they're to understand the galaxy, but they're also used by Earth scientists to understand the slight movements of the Earth, and therefore to help underpin things like GPS and help us to cruise around on the surface, bring our ships into ports with precision, water the grapes in grapevines, all sorts of things, have Uber Eats, dare I say it, delivered to the house. That's not environmental. I shouldn't have mentioned that. But precision movement on the Earth is what these radio telescopes are responsible for. So I'm very happy that we can send out some Lego kits to you with the radio telescope. So thank you so much for participating today. I don't know how we're going, Maddi, for time, but if there's any more questions from anybody, or we can make some closing remarks if there's time.
Yeah, for sure. If there's any more questions from the kids, or if they have any cool science facts about Australia or science in general, we'd love to hear from them. But yeah, was there any final words for the kids and everyone watching at home? We like to do this challenge at AIME. You've got 6 words to deliver a message. 6 words are the most impactful and powerful. So we'll start with Michelle, your 6 words to give everyone before we leave.
6 words. Okay. I hope you can see that Earth science has something for everyone.
Go for it, Sima. You got 6 words?
I think mine would be more than 6 words. I said it earlier, but I want to emphasize it now. I think through earth sciences, we would appreciate our planet more, and through a scientifically literate society, we can enhance our stewardship of the environment. So try to learn more about earth sciences.
I love that. Joe, do you have a message for us?
Yes, great vibe. Go forth creatively. 5.
Nice. I like it. And each of the kids, throw a couple words out there as well. We love wisdom from the youth.
Yeah. Protect our planet for the future.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate all of the panelists for joining us today. Thanks, kids from Adelaide Botanic High School. I did remember. And we will catch you all next time. What an amazing prize. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Yeah, we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.